few years later, when the Porsche 993 was released, I felt that same rush of love at first sight. The design changes took the aesthetics to an entirely new level, and I knew I had to have one. Years later, after this incredible blessing of selling my company, I finally had the chance to turn that childhood passion into reality. I began building my Porsche collection, and without a doubt, the first one I went after was the Porsche 993. The model isn't just a car, it's a masterpiece. The design curves are simply breathtaking. The iconic round headlights, the wide rear hips, and that timeless silhouette that whispers elegance and performance. So I called my best friend, Sky Barkett.
Hey, going pretty good. Here's my buddy Leon. Say hi.
So together we decided to make it a road trip. 2 friends, a classic Porsche, and the open road ahead of us. I'm Leon, and I invite you to come along for the ride with us. Hey guys, really excited here. We're starting a brand new road trip here in my air-cooled 1997 993 Porsche 911. You can see it here in the background. Really excited. We're headed down to Luft 10. Any of you that know that car show, it's all about Porsche air-cooled cars. We're going from Pleasanton, California, all the way down to LA. It's in the Universal Studios Backlot. So I'm here with my best buddy here, Sky Barkett. We're really looking forward. He's also a Porsche guy as well, so really looking forward to enjoy this trip down.
This should be a blast. I bought my first Porsche a few years ago, and I've always wanted to go to this show. It's the premier, air-cooled Porsche show, so we're really looking forward to seeing some cool stuff from the Porsche tuners, the guys who have the rare models, all the stuff that you don't really see on the street. So it should be just a total blast.
So excited. We're also hitting a Peterson Museum party that's kind of dedicated to the Luft show ahead of time. And at that party, there should be some nice cocktails, hors d'oeuvres, and there should be all kinds of cars there. Air-cooled, obviously the liquid-cooled cars as well. So it should be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, the meetups, sometimes you see some stuff you don't see at the shows that some guy just pulls up in, and it's like, wow. So
exactly,
I'm really looking forward to seeing what we see there.
Yeah, so we'll get some great shots in this video where Sky brought a drone, so we're gonna get some nice drone shots of the car as well. So it should be pretty awesome. So come along for the ride with us. Should be a lot of fun.
Hey, going pretty good. Here's my buddy Leon. Say hi. Yeah. All right, man. Well, hey, cheers. Cheers for our first road trip.
I know. First Porsche air-cooled road trip. Where you guys from?
Try it on.
I'm from Pleasanton.
Yeah, I'm actually from Utah, south of Salt Lake City. Yeah, I drove out here so we could do a road trip down to LA. So
You guys are going to a car show in LA?
yeah, it's
What car show?
it's called Luftgeköhlt. It's all air cool. It's all old Porsches,
Oh, okay.
and they put all the cars on the Universal Studios Backlot, where all the fake streets and buildings and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, so they set them up in all these cool positions, and it's really like rare
Kinda like
colors,
car
cool
art.
models. Yeah, so
Yeah.
yeah,
so-
it's a little bit snobby, but like we both own Porsches, so we're like
did you
thinking
drive-
about doing it.
You drove your Porsche all the way from Utah here?
Yeah, but then it broke down in California, so we drove down here. We were gonna caravan it down, but we just drove his. So
yeah.
I've always loved Porsches. When I was growing up, my dad had this friend that had a bunch of money. He had a Porsche, a Ferrari, a Jeep, and a Mercedes.
Oh
He
my
had a
God.
He had a Porsche Turbo.
This was your dad's friend? Wow.
Yeah. So
Did you
So
get
it
to
turned
check
out-
him out?
yeah, we'd go hang out at their house and take me for rides and stuff. So I was always in love with Porsches. The car I really loved was he had a Ferrari 512 BB. It's a flat 12 cylinder, not a flat 6 like a Porsche, a flat 12.
Wow.
That was the first supercar I ever rode in. And that thing was crazy. So
Flat 12?
flat 12, so 6 on each side. And they used that engine in the 512 BBI, which is the Bach Ferrari. BB stands for Berlinette Boxer. So like whatever. And then they also use that engine in the 512 TR. So the Testarossa with the second gen Testarossa or something like that also had the flat 12 cylinder.
What year is this?
Let's see,
About?
those are about an 84. So he took me for a ride in that. I got to ride in this Porsche 930 Turbo, like a
Whoa.
1979 Porsche
I'm
930
sure
Turbo.
that's worth a pretty penny.
Yeah, those are worth some money. Those are about 150K nowadays. Those would look even a little bit smaller than your car does. A little bit. Not too much, but they look a little smaller than the 993. But yeah,
Wait, how old were you? Just sorry, I was trying to.
Well, probably 10 or 11 years old.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, I was young. All in all, even though I've had problems, I love the friggin' car.
Yeah.
It's so fun. Every girl I take for a ride in it thinks it's the most awesome friggin' thing.
Absolutely. Who doesn't?
Yeah, exactly. So
Honestly, what Porsche wouldn't be fun for a date?
I could see like maybe driving a girl like an old 356 because they're so cranky and everything.
sure.
I've heard they're really fun to drive actually, so
Yeah.
I shouldn't knock it till I try it. But
Yeah.
my car is like really comfortable, smooth,
Yeah.
great stereo.
Would you say that younger people would all go for like the
Like a BRZ or
yeah. They're not going to go for a
well,
997 or a 996
yeah.
necessarily.
I mean, you do have to keep in mind the maintenance costs. Everything is twice as expensive to fix.
right on a
An
Porsche.
oil change,
Yeah.
brakes, everything's at least twice as expensive. So you got to think of the ongoing costs. There's because there are all these there are a lot of really nice European cars like old Bentleys, Mercedes, BMWs that are like super nice cars, but as soon as something breaks,
Yeah.
you're like, oh wait a second, I could afford the car, but I can't afford the maintenance.
Right. That's a very good point. Like
Yeah.
you buy this, $200,000 Bentley that now you can get for what, 60 grand or whatever.
No.
But the moment something goes wrong, you're spending like 8 grand to fix
Yeah,
that.
if you can get the parts.
Yeah.
So,
So do you want to introduce this lovely lady to me?
Currently, this is Mrs. Mona, created by Susan Hill and Beck V. Sponsored by San Simeon Lodge. Apparently, you can scan this QR code and win a free night with her. No, a free night in Cambria.
There you go.
I think she looks a lot like Dolly Parton, so I'm not really sure what's up with the Mrs. Mona. But anyway, yeah. Have a good night, lady.
All right. Good night.
A couple of years ago, my family came out here for 4th of July weekend. Yeah, well, I mean, I grew up being a car freak, you know, playing with Hot Wheels, Matchbox cars, making roads in the backyard. And like, of course, I had a bunch of Porsche 911s and turbos. And like the turbo was like the holy grail, right?
Like, how old were you when you first recognized what a Porsche was?
My parents had these friends who lived up in Woodside. They were kind of rich. Guy was from Thailand, married a girl here. And he had a 911 turbo, like the first turbo, the 930 turbo.
Oh, a 930?
Yeah, it was like a 1979, 1980, something like that. I think we're probably, let me see.
One of the later ones?
I was probably 8 or 9 years old, something like that. And I thought this guy was the coolest because he had a Porsche turbo, he had a Ferrari, a Jeep, a Mercedes wagon was his family car. So like, to me, that was like the coolest, right?
Right, totally.
So, obviously, growing up, I loved cars. I would, I started subscribing to car magazines when I was like high school age. Car and Driver, Road and Track, Motor Trend, all three of them cover to cover every month. Back when they were actually like this thick rather than that, because now everything's online and they're like that thick, right?
Oh, really?
So yeah. So if you get a magazine subscription, like Road and Track actually switched to a bi-monthly. So every other month they come out with like a really nicely produced, might even be quarterly. It's more like a high quality $20 magazine kind of a deal. But anyway, so I've always been into cars, right? And I always someday was like, if I ever have any money, I'm going to get a really cool car. And Porsche was way up on that list because it was always one of those cars. So Spike Ferriston on his podcast, he has this term that he calls the seed car, like the car that gets you into cars, right?
Yeah.
So for me, it really was the Porsche Turbo, right? It was that and then a Ferrari 512 Boxer, which is like that, I told you the other day, it's like a really cool Ferrari. It's what came before the Testarossa.
Yeah.
And it has a flat 12-cylinder engine, super exotic, really cool. I rode in that with
Sounds awesome.
that same guy I was talking about had that. And I got to ride in that. And it was the first car that made me go like this in the seat, and that was like, holy shit, right? Yeah. So when I got some money, a Porsche was on my list, right? And I was like, okay, so what do I want, right? So I did some reading, 991s were still like in the 100,000 range. They're faster than, I bought a 997.2. 991s are faster. 992s are that really good mix of a decent price and still a pretty fast car and
very fast.
And they're smaller than the newer ones. This is the last Porsche that people feel is like the right size to be a Porsche, like your 993. I love it because it's so tiny. That's really awesome. But the 997 I got a 997.2. It's a really nice size. It's a little bigger, so it rides a little smoother, has more amenities. The seats are a little softer, all that kind of stuff, right?
I think the 997 in general was, I've owned a 997. I don't have a 997 anymore.
Yep.
As you know, I have a 993, a 996, and a 992. But I think the 997 is like that perfect where it's still small, like it's small, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sure you'll talk about that, but it's still small, but it starts to give you a few of the luxury items that you want. So if you don't want to be a full like raw race car, but you want like, really nice headlights, really nice stereo system. So if you had 160 grand to put into a car right now, what would you get?
That's tough. I'm the kind of person that like really is going to do a buttload of looking around online first.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of good stuff in that price range.
Oh, yeah.
Like you can get a used Ferrari in that price range. Of course,
But the maintenance would kill you.
It would, yeah. Okay, so if my 997 was running perfectly, because I think, to me, and by the way, so I talked about the mod I have done. The mod I would do, so before we talk about another car, so what I would do to my 997.2, I would do an IPD intake plenum. So it's a special like intake box that replaces the stock air intake plenum for the cylinders. It adds like 15 horsepower, but it also adds a nice sound. I would probably do an intake system, even though technically they say those take away like a few horsepower, it just sounds amazing, the IPD intake. And then I would probably have Fister get a hold of my exhaust and do those, because like your 993 sounds amazing. Yeah, your car sounds so mean that I would do that. And that would probably, I might do the more
That would be so badass in a cab, because you could hear it.
Oh, yeah, you can hear it all the time. Yeah. The cab's great for hearing the exhaust.
Before you answer the question on if you had a
160 grand question?
Before you answer that question, which is a tough one.
Yeah.
Let our audience here know that you have a pretty cool BMW too.
Yeah. So I have a 1987 BMW M6, which is the shark nose. They call it the Shark. Has that tilted front end, super sleek profile.
Like a Ray-Ban front end.
Yeah. Kind of, yeah.
Okay. So going back to, if you could buy a car, new or an older one.
You know, a car I've always wanted to check out is an Audi R8. Those are like supposed to be really good for people who are tall, and apparently they're really fast. You can drive them every day. They're really unique looking. And I think for 160, you could get a really nice 6-speed manual V10 version, which basically is the same engine they put in the Lamborghini Gallardo.
Yeah.
And
it's basically a Lamborghini.
Basically, but it has more room in it.
The V10.
And I think it's and I think it's a little bit less expensive to maintain, but I like Lamborghinis a lot, but I've been to so many car shows, and the guys that drive them, they bring them there, they rev them, they get obnoxious, but like the R8's kind of more of a classy, unique, kind of a cool car, you know? So it'd either be that or like I would love like a 997 GT3 or a 991 GT3.
Yeah.
Probably. Those are both really cool. You could probably get a 991 GT3, but you couldn't get a 992 GT3 used for that price still. They're still pretty expensive. Like yours, you know, those are still, but I think you can get a pretty decent 991 GT3 for that.
You could get a really nice 997 GT3 though. For that.
I think the 997 GT3s are worth as much as the 991s because they made fewer of them.
They made a lot of PDK versions of them.
Yeah.
So you gotta, it's hard to find a manual version of those. It's a little bit harder.
Yeah. And I've always thought, I've actually never driven a turbo, and the turbos are like crazy. Like I don't know, for 160, a turbo, like a 991 Turbo S Cabriolet would be pretty cool. But I would get that with a PDK because I don't think I'm fast enough on the clutch for one of those. They're so fast that, like, you know, I don't know if I could keep up with the revs.
I don't know if you'd enjoy it though, because those are so friggin' fast.
Yeah.
It's not a 30 to 80
It's like crazy. Yeah. I know, because you drove that, like, at the same place I got my 997.2. You tried out that 997 Turbo, and you said that was crazy fast.
It was too fast. It was almost too fast for me.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Was it basically like when the turbo kicked in, it was just like so gnarly, or
It was just, I barely kicked it in. It was still gnarly.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember you came back from your drive and like, that thing is too fast.
Yeah. Wow. That's beautiful. I don't know. Evening event.
All right, so we're here at the Luftgeköhlt 10 pre-meet at the Peterson Automotive Museum 2024, and we're about to go outside and look at some really killer stuff. So let's cruise on out there and see what people brought. Here, I'm gonna go here because there's this crazy background.
Don't know.
Yep. See, you had to get GT Silver, but look at these. So yeah, so that's the front clip I want for my 997. That GT3 front. Yeah. Oh, here's the 4.0 GT3 991.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that's cool. Oh. And this one actually, so this is actually a narrow body Carrera. This actually is not a turbo.
No.
This is not a turbo. This is a Carrera with a turbo wing, the narrow body.
Yeah.
Really cool. Hey, I like the gold rims on this 991 Carrera S. Those are pretty badass.
I like that.
Yeah. I've always wanted to try driving one of these because they just, I mean, it's probably as much fun as a 914 at least. And they're super cool. 1600 Super. Well, this has got a New Hampshire plate. So they might have driven really far in this sucker.
They probably.
People that Porsche guys can be crazy. They'll drive anywhere. Like I drove from Utah to California multiple times. So I mean, why not, right?
Yeah, but in this.
They did like a different bonnet.
Yeah.
Exhaust. I bet this thing sounds amazing.
I love it.
Yeah. It's got a roll cage and racing seats. Oh man.
Just a 991 GT Silver. See, it looks badass. Oh, what do we
check
got
this
here?
out. Here's a 993 turbo. No, actually, this is a Carrera S with the optional. This is like that one I was telling you about the other day that I saw at that car show. So, very cool. And it's very rare to have a 993 with all these turbo like body parts and stuff like this. So yeah, really awesome. Yeah, 928 GTS. So this is the best, in my opinion, the best 928.
Yeah.
It's got the good engine, the good suspension. It's got the kind of cool little wing on the back. No, just a GT3.
That's a GT3, yeah. God, there's just so many nice cars here. That right there is pretty badass.
Wow.
Everyone just got here to Luft 10. Just got dropped off by the shuttles. We're gonna walk in here. Super excited about this. I'm here with my really good friend, Sky Barkus here. We're gonna be taking a look at a lot of the cars and checking them out. Pretty exciting. Our first time at this event. We certainly have seen a lot of this on YouTube, but really excited here for the first time. So let's start taking a look at the cars.
Yeah, let's do it. I've heard about this show for the last 5 years or so, and I've always wanted to come, so this is exciting. Wow, so starting right off with some classic 356s.
That's right.
Yeah,
Pretty slick.
excellent. Yeah, the speedsters. Those are pretty cool.
See, look at that one over there. That
Yeah.
totally looks like an outlaw.
Yeah. Wow. Oh man, this is awesome. Oh no, look at these 70s Porsches. Oh, no fair. All right, so this blue one's my favorite so far. Little RSR race Porsche. Oh my God.
That looks familiar.
That's pretty nice.
Kind of looks like mine, but
Looks like yours. Yep.
those rims look badass.
Those are pretty cool.
That's why I gotta upgrade my rims. This guy, it almost looks exactly like my car.
That is basically what you've got right there. Oh, this all gives me flashbacks of what we did the other weekend.
Yeah.
Look at that intake, good Lord. I love it.
God,
Look at it. Look at it. This is awesome. BB is a custom shop,
Yeah,
right?
no, I
yeah.
know.
Good license plate.
Yeah, I know. I love it.
Yeah, perfect colors. And then, yeah, Carrera RS. These are really rare, really desirable. That's beautiful. I love the creativity of how they do the engine intakes and exhaust, just because of how the engine has to sit in the back with the slope on it. It's so different from all other cars, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
really
yeah.
Cool. Red 930 turbo.
So nice, though.
This is the classic with the black Fuchs wheels.
I just love how guard red just snapped. It's so tight. All right, so that's it. We just finished our whole tour here. Hope you guys are gonna enjoy the video. What was your favorite car?
Oh God, why? That's a crazy question.
I
All
know.
So my favorite kind of like custom, I like the Singers. The Gunther Works are a close second. So that's my favorite custom. My favorite just car is a 73 RS with the Carrera script on the side and the ducktail. That's always been my holy grail car, you know. So
Right.
I just love those.
Yeah.
It's been amazing today.
It's hard for me to choose a favorite. I think, you know, obviously the custom ones for me is the Singer as well, but Gunther Works was cool, but again, very, very close second place on that.
Yeah.
And then overall, just my favorite non-mod car, I guess, or non-whatever, is probably the 993s. Like just all of
Oh,
them.
what a surprise!
And
Because you
just-
have a kick-ass
Yeah,
993.
but you know, just
I know what
seeing
you mean.
all the things that they do with them and the different things. So it's just cool to see the large variety of them, and totally awesome show. We're gonna come back next year. Had a great time with this. Totally fun. Just enjoyed it.
Yeah, awesome. Definitely highly recommend it. If you love Porsches, you must come here.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Bring a
no
hat.
question. Do it. Oh yeah, bring sunscreen.
Bring sunscreen is the big thing. I got.
Well, if it's in California. Yeah.
Yeah, it depends on where it is and the weather. But yeah, we forgot sunscreen, and the amazing person at the merch store where we were getting some T-shirts.
Yeah.
She's like, "Oh my God, I got some. You want it?" And I'm like, "Yes." And she let us borrow
Saved
it.
you.
So
Saved
it.
us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally awesome. Anyways, thanks guys. Subscribe and like the channel. Thanks. Bye.